Today is a good day to remain weather aware as we have severe weather coming to our area later today. And this morning, it's been pretty quiet. We have a few showers across our area, mostly Navarro and Hill counties here, some of that moving into southern Ellis County, possibly southern Johnson County here in a few moments. We had some heavier storms down south of Hamilton in the Waco and Gatesville area this morning, but it looks like most of that has calmed down since then. So things have become a little more docile, and we love to see that because the least amount of severe weather we can get this morning, let's try to let that wait until at least the afternoon. Maybe we can even get lucky enough to avoid most of it before the evening, but we'll talk about the timing here in just a few moments. Highs today will be warm. We're gunning towards 80 degrees across the area, 77, 78, I think, for most of us. Some of us could reach 79, 80 degrees, especially the further south you go. That will be where you're seeing that warmer weather. And overnight tonight, though, we have that cold front coming in. So behind the storms, it will be quite cool tonight, 44, 45 degrees for those overnight lows. So it will actually be quite nice. The forecast is gorgeous after today, but man, today is just nasty across our area. Tons of moisture across the state. That will set the stage for plentiful storms this afternoon. And you do see this rotation here. This is the system that will be pushing eastward and increasing our storms throughout the day. I want to go to the bigger picture and show you a couple of things. First, we have this front that is stalled here. If we get any storms before this main system moves in, it will be along this front. And if you look at the temperatures, really the dividing line is right around I-20. So when you go Dallas and Fort Worth north, you're in the 60s and even closer to the 50s when you get up around the Red River. For our area, we're in the 70s, and it just goes warmer as you go south. So on the warm side of this is where we're looking at the best chance for storms earlier in the day. Yes, some of those could be severe, especially from noon on to 3 o'clock and forward. But the closer this system gets to us, that will push the main line of storms tonight, probably 6, 7 o'clock across our area. That will be a solid line of severe storms. So could have a couple of rounds of storms to look at out of this. This map has not changed very much, at least not for the moderate risk area. That still goes from about Palmer to Corsicana on east. And they have changed, however, the enhanced risk area. Really, the rest of it has been pushed west, the slight risk even going almost to San Angelo there. But for our area, from Killeen to Waco, all the way to Stephenville here, including really all of the South Metro area here, these 4 counties, I really hate that there's this dividing line here. I really think that all of us should just consider ourselves part of a moderate risk of severe weather. It's a day to pay good attention to the weather, what's going on around you. You have multiple ways of getting warnings and information. You want to stay very alert today. Hey, if there's different plans or things you can cut out of the day, definitely do that because this is a good day to stay home, stay alert, and even if you're at work, make sure you're paying attention. If you're a teacher at school, those kind of things. And if any of the kids that, I know sometimes the kids that have seen my weather lessons and things, sometimes the teachers will show these videos. Listen to your teachers, listen to those people who have instructions, and know how to stay prepared in these situations. Let's talk about timing today. This is noon today, and again, this is a modeled guess, okay? This is not gospel. This is not saying that there's going to be a storm exactly in that spot. This is a general idea. So the model so far is thinking that to our west, we will start to see heavier thunderstorms at that time. Keep in mind, I showed you where that front is. That could also be a point of activation for some of these storms. So we could see those further east in our area, but it looks like 3 o'clock, we definitely start to see more activity in our area. It definitely shows some stronger storms off to the west. But I want you to understand that once we get to noon, that kind of starts to open our window. And especially at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I will be watching this very closely. I know that's time to get out of school, get off work, these kind of things. Not a good time for severe weather. Back on November 4th, that's part of what we were dealing with too. So I will keep an eye on that as we go through the rest of the day. By 6 o'clock, we have this solid line, and it looks like by this estimation, could be a broken line of severe storms, and that would lend more risk as well. But as we have this straight line, this broken line of storms, that will be moving into our area right around 6, 7 o'clock. And I'll keep an eye on this, and don't think that right at 6 o'clock you need to be ready for the storms. These systems can speed up, they can slow down, different things can happen to kind of adjust the timing here. And as I mentioned yesterday, the thing I want you to remember is that if we get an earlier storm, then that could very well end up causing more of a tornado and large hail risk from these individual cells. Once we have this solid line come through, that's when we will have more of a damaging wind threat and also a tornado threat as well. So tornado threat is kind of a common deal today. And as we go forward through this period, we definitely will want to pay attention to what kind of storms we're looking at. The good news is by 9 o'clock, looks like most of that line is moved through our area. We could have some showers behind all of this, and I know I'm kind of duplicating the logo there, just ignore that. But by 9 o'clock, I think most of this is moved through. We could have some showers and thunderstorms behind that line, but not probably severe weather behind the main line. I think once we get through that front, that main squall line that will push through, I think we're done after that for most of the night. And then after that, the forecast is gorgeous. Let's talk about sheltering guidelines and things you need to know. The worst options are here, and I know that there are a number of communities, especially in Navarro and Hill counties, really everywhere, Ellis and Johnson counties too. I believe in Johnson County there's even a whole large RV park. Mobile homes, RVs, double wides, manufactured homes, vehicles, and underneath highway overpasses are the worst possible places to go. These mobile homes are not built to last through a lot of severe weather situations. A vehicle is very vulnerable to just being picked up and thrown around by these tornadoes. And a highway overpass not only is that going to impede emergency response after the storm, but it creates a wind tunnel. So you're just making it worse for yourself. Bad options, large open rooms like gymnasiums. You have a large area that's less support on the roof that could cave in, that could come down, or it could be lifted away. So you want to be in a place where there's more walls around you, closer in. Obviously, that's going to make a more sound structure around you. That's why we say get into the center part of your house, that kind of thing. So if you're in a gymnasium or a large store, try to find a smaller room within that place, preferably away from an exterior wall. Sometimes that's hard to do, but a smaller room is going to be safer. Again, manufactured housing, just like I said with the mobile homes, these things are just not built very strong, very vulnerable to tornadoes. So if you are in a mobile home or a manufactured home or an RV, something like that, find a place and do it this morning. Don't wait until this afternoon. Find a place you can go that's going to be more safe, where it's more sturdy, a brick building or some kind of more stable structure. Find a friend, find a store, something, somewhere you can go. Even some communities, I know in Rice, one of the schools has a part of the building that is actually built as a storm shelter, and sometimes they open that up to the community. So if that news breaks, I'll try to bring that to you. But let's get to the good news. Let's talk about the good options. Interior rooms of a well-constructed home or building, and basements. If you can get underground, that's obviously the best option. But if you're inside of a home, you want to get to that interior room, even if it's a hallway, somewhere away from windows in the center of the house. You want to get away from those exterior walls. The best options are above or below ground storm shelters. And oftentimes these things are tested by organizations or universities, like Texas Tech University does this, where they will actually fire 2x4s at 100, 200 miles per hour to test the integrity of these storm shelters. Sometimes they're underground. Sometimes you see the big metal rooms that are in a garage or something. Or there's even safe rooms. I've shown one of them before on this channel where you go into a closet or something, but it's still reinforced. So any of those options are great options. But if you're in some of these not so great options, that's when you want to go find another option to take shelter when severe weather hits. So let's talk about the forecast. We have some good news to talk about here. Today's a mess. Obviously, 70% chance of storms. Some of those could be severe, especially this afternoon and tonight. Again, tonight we get cooler. Once that cold front comes through and we get rid of these storms, it's nice and cool tonight. Look at this. Sunny days. We start warming up again. Friday is decently cool. It's going to be a windy day. Northwest wind is 20 to 25 miles per hour. So tomorrow will be a little bit chilly. It'll be sunny, but you'll have kind of that chilly wind. 41 degrees overnight tomorrow night. Saturday, 71 degrees. Sunday, 75. A beautiful weekend out there. Then we get to the next week. Monday is nice, 79 degrees, a little bit of a southwest breeze there, and increasing cloud cover before Tuesday. A front approaches, and as I mentioned, Tuesday's temperatures could depend on the timing of the front. It could be a little warmer if the front is later. Front moves in earlier, it could be cooler. Wednesday looks a little cooler and rainy with highs around the mid 60s. So stay tuned. It's an ugly day coming up, but I will be monitoring this very closely. Stay tuned to South Metro Weather and all of your weather sources. I want to remind you as well that your local Office of Emergency Management, all counties have them. Ellis County, Navarro County, Hill, and Johnson. You want to be tuned into them as well because they have important information before, during, and after the storms as well. There's been some discussion on one of my pages about their coverage, and I want to make sure you're plugged into them as well. You can find links to their websites at southmetroweather.com. The links page there at the top of the menu there. You can also find them on Facebook. So stay tuned. More updates throughout the day.